Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Leadership Conversations, Etoile Europe Leadership Conversation. And we welcome all our friends, all our viewers, all attendees, all our network associates from all around the world. And I want to use this time just to appreciate every one of us as we're logging in tonight. I don't know where you're coming from and what time, frame that you're in. However, I'm welcoming you from wherever you are. And those who will still log into this broadcast as well, you're welcome. For those who are logging in from Africa, we welcome you. And you're the focus of discussion, by the way. Welcome all those from Europe, all those who are logging in from the Americas, from the Caribbean as well. All our network and associates from Trinidad and Tobago, from the Bahamas. We welcome you in tonight. And I believe it's going to be a fantastic time tonight as we delve into this topic that we started from last week. By the way, our session is going to be going up to about 45-50 minutes tonight as well. So just stay with us and we will really be able to enjoy the show as well. Please, whatever you do tonight, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not yet subscribed, click on the notification bell as well so that you can get alerts when we come up with our programs or any of these episodes as well. Share with your friends as well. Share with your associates, your network, your team, either your business team, your work team. Share with them as well what is going on this platform today. So without much ado, I want to bring on board today. I have two fantastic guests, one from last week and one joining. Both of them you know very well already on this platform. Great, consultants, teachers, men who have been on the field, on ground, tested and tried and working with us continually. So please join me tonight as I'm going to bring in both of them. I'm just going to talk about both of them as coming as well. I have with me tonight again, Mr. Akin Oluwadare. Mr. Akin Oluwadare, all the way from Nigeria, West Africa, a banker, a leadership coach, who, you remember, he shared his passion. Is one of his passion is relationships as well. Fantastic place. In fact, one of the places that you need to demonstrate your leadership as well. Is an author as well. He's got about three books or two books to his name, right? 3 books and 2 on leadership. Fantastic, materials that is out there as well. He is in one of the leading banks in Nigeria as one of the executives there. Please welcome with me. He also has passion for leadership, has a group that is mentoring on leadership as well. Please join me to welcome Mr. Akin Oluwadare Jr. All the way from Nigeria today. Good evening, good evening.
Good evening, sir. And it's my pleasure to be here once again. It's my pleasure to always be with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I also have with us yet again, I told him from last week, he kicked off all this from last week. And, we really just only touched the intro last week, even with some key points that he just laid last week. And I think this still resonates with me that, look, you can't lead the people that you're distant from. You can't lead the people that you do not understand their needs, and I think that just really, really did it for me since last week. I can't let go of those thoughts in my head as well. Please join me tonight as a welcome, a great teacher, a philosopher, a banker as well, a man who has been in the field of journalism as well. He's an all-rounder, a leadership consultant, an author, an orator as well, who has been around quite a while and can tell us some things around Africa. Please welcome with me, Professor Francis Wale Olajide, all the way from, he's in the UK, all the way from Nigeria, but he's in the diaspora here. Please welcome both our guests tonight as well, Etoile Europe and all our friends. We have Mr. Akin Oluwadare and Professor Wale Olajide here tonight. Thank you so much. Professor, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Nice to be with you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I can see I saw a comment just from your friend all the way from Nigeria, Vice Chancellor at the King's University, Professor Famuriwa is already on board as well. I think he's sending just greetings. Yes. And I think you're drawing a whole lot of a confederation of professors on this academicians of this platform. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, our focus yet again tonight is leadership in Africa. Earlier in the year, we did a program that actually said the theme of it is leadership determines everything. And Etoile has a focus, especially to developing nations of the world. That is where the really nitty-gritty of our work is. And so Africa is one of those contexts. And I was listening last week as well when the Secretary of State of the United States was saying that, look, elections are going on in one of the African countries, which is Nigeria. And this election is not just about this country, but it's about the whole world. That means whatever is happening in Africa affects the whole world. I believe that strongly. Not only that, Africa is the untapped world. Africa is the focus of the entire world. Africa is a place everybody is depending on for sustainability, for continuity, for everything that really we're looking at. From China to the Americas to Europe, everybody, and literally you can see them pitching their tents everywhere there right now. But the one thing that I believe that we must not get wrong is Africa itself must not get it wrong. It needs people, men, women, young, old, great minds that will be able to steer the ship of that continent in the right direction, or else literally our world might be heading for a disaster, because if we don't get it right, then I don't know what it's going to become of the entire systems of our world, which is dependent on that place. The resources that is welcome, Mr. Wale, welcome. The resources that we need for even the first world is from Africa. All the raw materials that make the industrialization of the Western world is from Africa. The future literally is residing there, and it's yet untapped. It's yet untapped. Now, we are just one of the many voices that is got to begin to help, help get things right, amongst many other people that I believe has a burden, for the continent of Africa. And this is why I've brought both of you, our group has brought both of you here to help us shed some light on this here tonight. So, and one of my thoughts for conversation today is this: that what do we really see as a problem or the challenge, or issue with the leadership in general across either from north, east, west, south of Africa? What do we see in general, and as a problem of leadership in Africa? Because I don't think we need to begin to ask if there's a problem. We have a major problem about leadership, So, but we still keep on saying we're developing. We're still kind of scratching. So, okay, before we start building, because we can't go and build nonsense or build rubbish, and that's going to be a disaster. So let's begin to identify, because if we identify, then we can apply it to ourselves, apply it to our families, apply it to our organization, apply it to our institution, apply it to our governments as well. So, and I want you to give me very, a perspective, as a professor, as a banker, as a scholar, as an author, as a coach, working with young people coming back. Let me call him Mr. Akin Oluwadare, because Prof already knocked us with a big blow last week. I know he's got some more as well. But today I'm going to call him Mr. Akin Oluwadare because our banking system is a major area, and it affects the whole of Africa. So, from your perspective, shed some light. What is wrong? What is the issue? What's the challenge? Okay. Let me use what's the challenge with leadership in Africa, please. Enlighten us and let's have a discussion. And please, all our viewers, if you have any comment, just put it on board as well, and we'll also add to our discussion. It's a conversation. Thank you so much. Mr. Akin Oluwadare, yes, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Pastor JD. And it's my pleasure to be here always. Let me just say again that it's my great honor and privilege to be on this same platform with Professor Olajide, who I see as a father, a mentor. So you know what it means when you are on the same platform with your father. So, Prof, it's my great privilege to be with you on this platform.
I think we set you up so that you can see the work is done on you as well.
Always doing it. Yeah. So, back to the question. What do I see as the greatest challenge for leadership in all across Africa, whether north, east, west, or south? I would say it is. I would say that until we begin to see leadership as service, That is one major problem we have in Africa. You know, we still see leadership, particularly political leadership. People see leadership as a means to an end, to get rich. Yeah. You know, when people who aspire to leadership positions see it as a form of responsibility, you see situations where people want to get to office as leaders, but they're not willing to take responsibility for the office they seek. That is a major problem we see in Africa. You know, and until we begin to see leadership as service, I think that challenge will continue to be there. And I think we are getting there. We are getting there. People are now beginning to see the reason why leadership must be in place for every. You said it earlier in your introduction. It encompasses everything. Leadership is everything. I think we started this this series earlier in the year. Leadership is everything. Right. A fish they say rots from the head. When the head is having a problem, the entire system is having issues. So until we begin to see leadership as service to the people, we are not going to get right in traffic. And I think we are getting there, like I said. We are getting there gradually. That people begin to see when you are aspiring to office comes with responsibility, and you are getting that office into that office, and you are also ready to take up responsibility that comes with the office. Until we get to that level, I think we'll continue to struggle, but I think we are getting there.
You know, I think it's Winston Churchill that said it, that leadership is responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, and with what you've just said right now, you know, until leaders in Africa begin to see leadership as service, that is a total mindset change. That requires a total mindset change, because right now, as we speak, you and I know that people don't know and see and perceive and think or whatever leadership as service. They see it as lauding it. They see it as I am mighty, I am in charge, I'm the boss, you are subject to me. That is what leadership is. So definitely there's a whole lot of work for all of us to do there. Prof, can I jump onto you straight away? You see what the bombshell that Mr. Akin has dropped on us. Leadership is service. Now, how are you going to tell, you know, the likes of Robert Mugabe and all his likes and all these guys all over Africa right now there that you are here to serve us? I'm not sure. They don't even want to talk to any of us. Please, Prof.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be back here this week, and I'm so delighted to have Akin Oluwadare with us. Very piercing. And I'm just going to take two concepts from his contribution. Is this concept of politics and the concept of aspiring to the position of leadership. Some have contested and keep contesting that politics is a common denominator to any state of affairs. There's politics in the home, politics in the school, politics in banking, politics in football, politics all over the place. Now,
we have a politicized world then, so to speak.
World, so to speak.
Oh my God.
Now, this politics has to be properly understood. So that first submission is there is a poor understanding of that concept, this common concept of politics. If you get it wrong at the conceptual level, then all is wrong. When you play politics in your home, you have 5 children, you play politics with the 5. You play politics with your wife. So it's a question of relationship and knowing very clearly how to define the length and breadth of that relationship. But particularly in matters of leadership, even to arrest the concept of leadership. That's why I said I will comment on the use of the word aspiration, aspiring to be. You cannot aspire to be a leader.
Wow, thank you so much, sir.
You aspire to be a leader. In fact, if we suspect that you are aspiring to be a leader, then you must be a very dubious character.
Those are the people we call professional manipulators.
Absolutely.
Taken from the word of our great founder, Dr. Miles Monroe.
The young man in the United States of America who wants a political position and told a whole list of lies in his resume. In fact, right now, they are now saying we don't even know who this person is.
Wow.
The person is aspiring to be a leader, but no, like I submitted last week, you can have a consciousness within you that you see a problem and say, well, and I can assist with this problem, and you begin to assist with that problem, doing the job, and then suddenly people will say, look at what this man is doing. I think we have to support him. You didn't aspire. You just saw that you could assist. And this is where Mr. Oluwadare got it right. It's all about service. It's all about service. If we have to list the recognized leaders of the world, they just had that consciousness and they began the exercise. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Have a dream. Mahatma Gandhi.
Yes.
I must rescue my people. Awolowo.
Yes.
Don't walk to freedom of Mandela. They didn't aspire. They didn't struggle to attain that position. They worked hard at their conviction because that was what threw them up. Even Jesus Christ, he didn't run around trying to force it, aspire to be. No.
Right. That's
so
very correct.
Mr. Oluwadare got it right. Yes, politics is all about service. And you still look around today, have we gotten to the stage where we even understand the meaning of service? I'm a president of the Rotary Club of Ado-Ekiti. Right. I know how much we give. We talk about selfless service.
Service, that's right. That's what it's for.
When we suspect that there are people among us who want us to even serve them before we serve the masses, then we keep them out. Because you have to come there with a mind to serve, not to be served. Some of them we have enterprise, like say catering services. They say, no, you must, I will be the one to cater for catering. So you will still take money from us? Why don't you come forward and say, I will cater for you free of charge? Just bring the money for the food. And then the efforts will be free. So the three concepts that we have to deal with here. The concept of service, there must be proper understanding of what it is.
Yes. Thank you so much for.
Yeah.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, yes. And the concept that perhaps we can aspire to believe. The entire work that Mr. Akin Oluwadare is doing is to say, come. There are traits that you have to have, that you need to have, if indeed you are serious about leading, about leadership. And I think I know one or two or three of those do's and don'ts, and it begins to mentor. It begins to mentor. So it's not that I want to be a leader, I want to be a leader, which is some of the funny characters are just.
Thank you so much, Prof. You know, listening to you, to both of you, thank you so much. All those who are just logging in, just getting on the program, please. We welcome you yet again to Ituala Leadership Conversation. And thank you for joining us. This is we talking about leadership in Africa. What can we do? My question to our guest today is, what is the challenge? What is the problem? What's the issue of leadership in Africa? Mr. Oluwadare said, first thing is that leadership is about service, and I don't think they understand that. So we got to kind of now begin to bring this really on board. And Prof joined on this that number one, under that same concept, poor understanding, because our leaders don't understand that they're there to serve. You don't aspire to be a leader. I remember Dr. Miles Monroe, you say leadership is not a pursuit, it's an end product, it's a destination. It's not a pursuit. You don't pursue leadership. Literally, service or solving problems gets you to the place whereby the people are called to you leadership. Yeah. People literally say, this is our leader because of the impact, of the solutions, of the way you've served them, really. So sometimes we got to understand that it's like a paradox. That he who serves you the most is actually the one that is in charge. I'll tell you a concept, sirs. So you go to a restaurant and you are there sitting down. You got your money in your pocket, and you're gonna pay for the service there, and the waiters in the restaurant are the one that's going to serve you. And the question that we're dealing with here is that who is in charge? The one that pays or the one that is going to serve you? Now, I don't want us to open that kind of words. Well, look at it. Because the one that is going to serve you has literally your life in his hands. Yes, you pay, but do you know what you're paying for? So sometimes we think that resources controls everything. No. He that serves the most. So service is a serious concept that I believe will need a total mindset change in our nation of Africa. We need to really turn this around, and I think with all the people that are joining our broadcast and those who will still watch as well, this needs to start from the lowest level or the first unit of the nation, of the society, of the community, which is a family. We got to begin to teach the attitude of service or servant leadership right from our homes, that we get it to our institutions, our schools, and our organization, or into the society. But coming back to Mr. Akin Oluwadare, and I said, so I'm based on this, and this really just fits in, and is that well, I can still call you a young man. You're young leading the young. You're an older young leading the young. Yeah. Okay. So now, do you believe that the way leadership is viewed right now in Africa inspires or deters? Discourages the next generation from even thinking about leadership. Because I was once, and Prof can bear me witness, this was years and years ago, and I'll just throw this in before you give us your thoughts on it. And we were running a leadership conference somewhere in Nigeria, and we're talking about leadership. And a young philosophy student stood up and asked me a question, and he made a quote. That was the scary part of it, and the quote was from Nnamdi Azikiwe, the premier of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he says, if you can't beat them, join them. I almost collapsed on that day. And I said, put the camera on me, because the TV were there. And I said to them, and I didn't care who was going to be looking, who is this young man that said this? I said, Nnamdi Azikiwe was wrong. Because that kind of a quote is what got us to where we are right now. So tell me, as a young man right now, who is also a role model to a lot of a younger generation.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me take it from where Prof dropped it. And that's talking, when we talk of leadership, there's no way we can divorce it from politics. And he said quite a lot about that. The question is whether as things stand today in Africa, whether the younger ones are inspired, or rather they are deterred from aspiring to be leaders. Not forgetting that you said it earlier, that the prof said it earlier, that you cannot aspire to be a leader. Something that evolves over time. He said something, he linked it to politics, like we always agree. If we all agree that you cannot divorce anything from politics, politics is everything. Now, let's take it back to one of the challenges. One of the main challenges we are still having in Africa is lack of politics of ideology. If you are linking it to the family setting or the society at large, you can call that principle. When you have someone who doesn't have any principle that guides his actions, that means anything goes. Like you said, that young man quoted Nnamdi Azikiwe as saying, you cannot beat them, you join them. That means that if you are going to join them because you cannot beat them, that means you don't have a principle that guides you. The same thing applies to politics. Because there is no politics of ideology, people are able to swing at short notice, and that is causing confusion as to what people should aspire to, what people should lead.
So we have a pendulum kind of.
Pendulum, yes. Anything that comes, you go with it. Now, coming basically to the question you asked, whether as it stands today, whether the younger ones are inspired, I would say if we should go with what obtains today, the youths are not, the younger ones rather, they are rather not inspired. Let me put it that way. They are not inspired. Yes. But like I said earlier, I think we are getting there. Where we are today in Africa is a point where the youths are beginning to realize that everything depends on them. There is so much the youths can do. And they're beginning to take their destiny in their hands. Before now, it used to be that whatever it is that you are served, you take. But now, because they know the power they have in their hands, they're beginning to come forth to say, we can actually shape the future that belongs to us. Because if you are saying the future belongs to us, and you serve us what you think we need, not exactly what we need, that means we are already compromising our future. And we are the ones that are going to go into that future probably after we would have gone to your grave. So the youth are now beginning to take their destiny in their hands. As things stand today, I would not say the youth are inspired, but because of what they've seen, that many things have gone wrong. So this future we are talking about belongs to them. They are ready to take their destiny in their hands and shape that future that truly belongs to them.
Let me interrupt you quickly. Somebody just put a comment on and said, leadership in Africa, the way they say it is about you getting a position and just sitting in a position. That's what they see leadership as. And I think, some of our youth, that's what they're thinking as well. So everybody's running after, aspiring after one position on the other, not really about knowing, serving or creating solution for the society. And I think that is where we got to really direct our youth to. What do you think?
One thing again that has really caused problem for the younger ones is that there is lack of mentorship.
That's it. Right? Thank you.
Yes, lack of mentorship. The younger ones are not willing to go through the process. They're only looking at the end products because society has been so bastardized that what it is, when you see somebody who yesterday was nobody, all of a sudden he aspires to a leadership position and he has political leadership. He gets there and within 1-2 years, he's already a billionaire. So people who are coming behind, who are still going through the process, you leave secondary school, you go to the university, you study hard, you pass your exams, you graduate, and you are looking for a job. But if you choose to be an entrepreneur, it takes a process. But the youth we have today are not willing to go through that process because the system has been so bastardized. There's a joke, there's a common joke on the social media in Nigeria that when we're growing, they told us that education is the key to success. But now that we have gone to school, we now have the education, they've changed the key to that door.
That's right.
So that is making the younger ones they don't care about the process. They just want to get rich quick. And it's a big problem. But like I said, the youth are now beginning to realize a lot is going on, but social media is helping a lot. Social media has its own downsides, but it's helping a lot. People are now beginning to see reasons why you also need to submit yourself to the process so that you can be well-baked. When you have hard-baked people, supposed leaders, that you can't expect so much from them. But now that people are willing to go through the process, they are now realizing that for me to really be that leader that the society needs, that will add value to the society, I need to go through the process so that I can be well informed and I'll be an asset to the society I belong.
So definitely we need role models again in our leadership. That and you said we lack mentorship, and people don't want to go through the process. And I think I was looking at Prof there, and even right now I see Prof all the time. Sometimes they say, "Can you help me pick up a book?" Or sometimes I'm traveling down back to Africa, I take a book to him, or rather, he's always reading a book. At his own age. And my question is like 20, 30, 40 years down the line, would we still have young people who are going to be willing to read, who are going to be able to earn a professorship and things like that? Because of just what you said. People now, they can see that what they told us before, that, oh, you need to have education. Then I said, no, I don't need to have education, because they've seen other people not have any education, who are touts, who are criminals, and suddenly they're in position of leadership. This positional leadership. How they get there? Well, we told that road as well. And it's confusing to the young people as well. Very, very confusing. And which really takes me to my next line of thought, for Prof. And I think we need to begin to look at some of these things that the people ahead of us are doing to us needs to carry some sort of penalty. And I was listening to the news, and especially around the Western world, at least I know I've seen that happen, that some of the leaders here, when they do terrible things to their nation, like what is happening in Russia and Ukraine right now, already they're thinking of taking Putin to the International Court of Justice or International Crime Court or something like that. I know there's an international court that you can take leaders to, people that have committed offenses in their nations and things like that. And my first line of thought was that I wonder if also all our African countries are under the jurisdiction of those courts as well. I know there's some, I don't know which ones really. So I think I need to educate. But I think, Prof, and I need your thoughts on this. I believe that our leaders in Africa should not get away with some of the things they've done, especially to this next generation and even our own generation. They should be charged for what I call leadership crime. Prof, I think I need a bit of philosophy, some thoughts on that will help us. Please, please, what do you think? Really, and I think all these lawyers who are not busy doing anything should begin to charge all these leaders. Look at the situation in South Africa. South Africa has gotten to the place where right now they're shedding load. They don't have electricity because the leaders are just visionless. We have this issue in Rwanda, in East Africa, in West Africa. We just have all these comedians, all these characters. They just change on us. They play us a particular theme during a campaign, and they get on the throne and they become another character entirely. Please tell me, what do you think? I think this is my thought. I think we should take them to the International Court of Justice to make sure that we make an example of them, since the countries that they rule cannot deal with them. Professor,
I think we have to be thankful for such a system. Take care of these tongue coats. I'll call them tongue coats because they said one thing and they went totally the opposite. In fact, some of them should be in jail by now. My submission is this.
Yes.
And it's in those days, now I can be talking about it. There were institutions, beverages, and I can mention them without trying to advertise for anyone.
Yes.
Nestle, Cadbury, the oil companies, and so on. It's as if they know who is next in line to become their MD.
That's right.
And all hands are on deck to mold this person, to get this person ready for the responsibility that they are going to place on his shoulders, he or her shoulders. Now, we have classical cases where our leaders have simply run amok because no one is holding them accountable.
Accountable. Thank you, sir.
No one is
Accountability.
holding them accountable. Now, such a court, which you mentioned, perhaps will act as check and balance. That's if they care that, oh, there's somebody watching me, so I must be careful. There's somebody who is taking notes. I must
Taking
be.
notes.
Yes.
Or he's going to query me. Or he's going to sit me down and say, what did I do?
Yes. Once they have this kind of absolutism to governance, that they are one and one in all, then we're in trouble. The whole process of immunity while you are in power is part of the problems we have. Because in some countries, once you are in power, you enjoy immunity.
Immunity.
You cannot be tried, you can't be brought to court. So
Yes.
now, absolute power corrupt.
Corrupts absolutely.
I know that I enjoy immunity. Hey, like I was joking with one of my friends. I said the English word immunity.
Immunity, yes.
When you take it as it is,
Yes.
and you bring it among Yorubas, and you turn it into a Yoruba word, it's immunity. That is, you cannot move me.
You can't touch me. That means I'm untouchable. Tell me, Prof. As a deputy vice chancellor, did you enjoy that kind of immunity as well? Because
you are accountable. You are accountable not only to the university that you serve, you are accountable to the council of the university, you are accountable to the vice chancellor that you serve, that you are serving under.
But saying that, how come some of those in those kind of positions in the past, you were able to abscond away with huge sums of. That's another program we're going to have. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this to you, Prof. Don't let us go to that one yet. Yeah. Now, we have about 8 minutes more.
Okay.
Looking at the current elections in the country of Nigeria. Now, Nigeria affects everything in Africa. Nigeria affects everything in Africa and also a major focus for the entire world. Nigeria is a major player in every nation of the world. Come either with our potential, with our resources, with our talents, with everything, we are recognized all around the world. Now we just had a leadership election or presidential election. My question to both of you is that Nigeria right now where it is, what kind of leadership does it need to experience in its current state? What kind of leadership does that nation need right now? Now, there are different kind of people vying for the position, but what kind of leadership does it require to drive it to the next level and we not becoming a problem to our entire world? Sir, I'll probably call up Mr. Oluwadare first.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Pastor JD. The level we are at, the point we are right now, there are several types of leadership. I will mention a few. So many concepts around it. You have authoritarian kind of leadership. You have participatory, that's delegative, that's transactional leadership, and that's transformational leadership. The point we are in Nigeria today or anywhere else in Africa is that point where what we should be talking about is transformational leadership. What does it entail? Transformational leadership changes the course of action. People talk about experience. Yeah, people talk about experience.
Changing the course of action.
Yes. Somebody asked one day, if you talk of experience, we should be talking about experience on good things. What has experience earned us? Where has it taken us to? Has it really yielded the result we sought? If the answer is no, that means we need to begin to. Somebody is talking about thinking outside the box. Maybe we should even throw the box away.
Box away.
Yes. Transformational leadership, whereby we are not looking necessarily at what has happened we are looking at what will work for the future. A lot has changed. So the point we are right now is that point where we should be talking about transformational. He is the best of all transformational leadership. And when we talk about the type of leadership we have, the kind of government we have, today we are talking of democracy in Africa. Democracy has its own downsides. I keep saying it. It's not necessarily the best form of government. We've seen nations taken from third world to first world. Singapore was not taken to the first world from third world.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Under a democratic system of government. So I may be radical about the kind of leadership that Africa actually needs. The point, it is such that, in Africa, before you can begin to talk of, when you talk of democracy, democracy produces when people are informed, when they know what they want. But the point we are in Africa where many people are illiterate, people don't even know what they want, democracy is not necessarily the kind of leadership that will take us there. So if you're asking what kind of leadership we should be talking about out of the lot we have, I would say transformational leadership is the best we should be looking at right now. Where we are thinking of changing the course of action entirely to take us to where we truly should be at this point in history.
Fantastic, man. Thank you so much. Prof, please, in the course of where we are, and I know myself and yourself, we've been on this topic for a while. We're in bad shape. We're in bad we're shapeless right now. Yeah, I know it was bad before. I don't know what level it is right now. But what do we need to get this shape back into play?
Sadly, and so sadly too. You started by saying Africa is a continent of untapped resources.
Yes.
Do we really know that that's what we are? We don't know that we have untapped resources. We don't. If we knew that we have untapped resources, we won't be in this messy situation. But there are those who knew and who still know that Africa is a land of untapped resources.
Prof, can I interrupt you there? Now, saying that, this just brings me back to the story of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is listed amongst the 10 largest deposits of lithium. And what did these leaders do? They sold their resource, the resource of the whole country of Africa, in the light of we going, all electric power generated everything running on electric, and sold that deposit out. Please, I just wanted to throw that in so that you can really buttress your point on that kind of leadership that we have.
If we knew that, yes, we're a land flowing with milk and honey, then we would know how to deal with that. Yes. But we don't know. The outsiders know that this is a land flowing with milk and honey. So they came with their buckets, with their basins, with their whatever container they could find to take away these resources. Somebody was advertising cocoa. They were showing us how farmers in Africa plant cocoa and so on, and then how cocoa comes back as chocolate, and then they sell that to the Africans. Even some of these farmers have never tasted
chocolate before. Oh my God.
We do not know. I keep emphasizing that we have these abundant resources, but some people know. So they come. Like I said, anything that can take milk and honey, they will come with those containers and cut them away. So it's a question of understanding what we have. If you understand what you have, then the thief cannot come at night, rescue whatever from your hand. But why was it so easy? And why has it been so easy for colonialism to survive? Why has it been so easy for us to be talking about neo-colonialism? I'm really pleased. Now globalization is in reverse because globalization has failed. Why?
Very correct.
Because those you want to use as borderless beneficiaries are just squandering, are just laying their countries to waste. So the same countries are with their begging bowls when they should be the one controlling the resources. They should be the one dictating the terms. And like I said last week,
yes,
culture is very important.
Yes,
When you forget your culture and you just don't care what your culture says, then you are going to suffer. Those who harness the ethos of their culture, Japan, China, are not in this kind of mess. They have power. They have power in their people. They have resources. And they'll be able to manage these resources to serve them. So any outsider that is coming, they know what percentage to make available to the stranger coming from outside.
Fantastic.
But we just threw open the doors, the windows. Some even remove their roofs for the strangers to come in. And that's what we're suffering now. That's what we're suffering. So,
fantastic.
A sad note, yes, untapped, but those who know that we have resources have been tapping these resources years and years. We are not, those of us in I know how much effort you put into selling electricity to certain parts of Africa. But we had a time with Kanji Dam that was giving electricity to Nigeria. We were still under our colonizers. We were getting electricity from Kanji Dam. There is Niagara Falls. It's still there. So why should we, at this time, be running after inverter? Even if we are going to run after inverter, shouldn't we be the custodian of that to sell outside or to engage in competition? So this is the sad thing. And the young man who wants to be an assemblyman or members of, he doesn't know his left from right. He wants to win an election.
Yeah.
And he knows that once he wins, poverty is gone.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to ask him how the day went and whether he's been truthful to the oath of office that he took to serve. As long as we have these incongruities in our process, and that is why I love the way Akin Oluwadare put it, that we're engaged in a process. You cannot jump the gun with this process without suffering the consequences. You cannot prepare omelette without breaking the egg.
Breaking the eggs. Well, he has said we should throw away the box anyway. Really, gentlemen, I think I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, oh my God, this conversation is getting us deeper and deeper, and I hear you both really loud and clear. What we're saying right now is, and we can use Nigeria as a template for the rest of Africa. We really need a transformational leadership in the midst of ignorance, poverty of mindset. And once you're ignorant, you're poor in your mind, you will be poor physically, you'll be poor mentally, if you're poor mentally, you'll be poor, because poverty is not just it's not just about lack of money, it's being unproductive. So we literally have a land that is flowing with milk and honey, but yet unproductive. And until we are able to transform, and I hear you loud and clear, Prof, we need education. Our land needs education again. And I think I've heard you say this in different ways in different places. What you call, I heard you say this a long time ago, purposeful education. It is not just going to school, because that's just literally literacy. You're able to read A, B, C, A for boy, B, A for apple, B for boy. That's just literacy. That's what we're getting, and we call education. But literally, we need purposeful education so that we can understand who we are, what we have, and what we are supposed to be doing with it. In fact, if we have the correct kind of education, we are supposed to be a people that are leading our world right now. Africa should be taking a lead right now. And I think this is a very, very critical place that we are right now. And I believe that this kind of a forum, amongst many other people that are doing wonderful things, is one of those forums that we can use to begin to educate ourselves. Because this is education for me, really. And for as many people who are connected here, I've seen a whole lot of comments of people as well who are sending their comments as well. It's education for all of us. And we're using to educate, also our world as well, and the people that will listen to this. And I think at this point, we're just going to pause. We're going to pause this evening as well. I see this conversation still going forward, and for everyone that is connected tonight, I wanted to pause and just go and think about this. Let us start the education from within our own community, our own network, our own families, our own group, our own associates, our own, just whatever sector that you're in. Use it as a place to begin to educate us. Educate us about not selling your birthright, not selling your vote. What do you know about yourself? What do you understand about your country? What do you understand what are you willing to give, to your world? What are you willing to serve? What problems can you solve as well? And I think as we begin to educate ourselves on those areas, we'll begin to come up with very, very fantastic ideas that will impact our world. At this point, I'm going to have to pause here tonight. I want to say a big thank you to our dear Professor Wale Olajide. Thank you so much for your time yet again. I'm still going to beckon to you, and Mr. Wale and Mr. Akin Oluwadare. Thank you so much. The things you've said here today, they're fantastic. We're going to review, and people are still going to watch this broadcast also, as the week goes by as well. And also about Ituala. Europe is the one bringing us this leadership conversation. And for many that want to know what Ituala is all about, please listen to this clip that educates us about what Ituala is all about. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you next week, same channel, same time, 9 p.m. UK time on the same channel. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Miles Monroe Jr., and I'm the chairman of the board for the International Third World Leaders Association. Our organization was birthed to respond to and address the critical need for quality, effective leadership development and training in the emerging developing nations.
Our vision is to establish a global network of leaders from every discipline,
committed to the highest standards of excellence in leadership training, personal development,
mutual accountability, and fraternal support, implementing relevant and innovative leadership philosophy based on time-tested precepts, principles, and values.
Our mission is to influence the destiny of developing third world nations through leadership training,
personal development, supportive relationships, and global networking.
Our purpose is to provide transformational solutions
in response to the dynamic leadership needs of the emerging third world developing nations.
Our goal is to cultivate leadership commitment
to produce leaders
dedicated to the empowerment of their people,
the progressive well-being of their citizens,
and the betterment of their nation.
The strategic approach captured in the slogan coined by our founder, Dr. Miles Monroe,
was transforming followers into leaders and leaders into agents of change. Our focus is national development through transformational leadership,
transforming nations, communities from the inside out.
Join us in ushering in this new era of our organization.
We are tasked with carrying this vision forward,
and we are devoted to ensuring that we leave an unwavering legacy.
The organization that produces effective leaders
with global reach and influence.